Under the blinding neon lights of Las Vegas, where every corner feels like a gamble, Max Verstappen turned the Grand Prix into a one-man show. What should have been McLaren's stage became a showcase of Red Bull authority. Helmut Marko couldn't help but laugh when he heard McLaren's radio message to Lando Norris, a command he found almost ridiculous. From the moment the lights went out, the drama began. Verstappen, starting from second, stole the inside line at turn 1, forcing Norris wide and opening the door for George Russell to slip through. Suddenly, McLaren, the team leading the championship, looked shaken. Russell tried to pressure Verstappen early, but the Dutchman, as always, refused to bend. On lap 22, Norris pitted first. 3 laps later, Verstappen followed, and nothing had changed at the front. But when Norris began pushing, McLaren sent the message that would echo across the paddock. "We're going to get Max." Verstappen heard it. And responded the only way he knows how. He unleashed fastest lap after fastest lap, each one sharper than the last, as if mocking the idea that he could be caught. Marko described it with thinly veiled amusement. The funniest thing was the message from McLaren: "Attack Max, overtake him." Then he said one fastest lap after another, just to make things clear. Within minutes, the gap exploded to nearly 21 seconds. Norris, meanwhile, began to fade by 2 to 3 seconds per lap, his pace collapsing just as Verstappen's ruthlessly soared. And Marko concluded with a sentence that captured the entire night. "Since the first lap, I won't say Max won the start. He won the first corner and practically forced Norris into a mistake." Beyond Marko's laughter, Red Bull team principal Laurent Mekies couldn't hide his awe. "I think he probably has more pace than what we're seeing in the car," he said, a frightening thought for McLaren. Mekies explained how Verstappen responded instantly every time they asked him to increase speed. Whenever Lando pushed, and we asked Max to go quicker, he increased his pace every time. It wasn't a race. It was a display of power, a warning shot to everyone who thought Red Bull was fading. Vegas marked Verstappen's 6th win of the 2025 season. And thanks to McLaren's double disqualification, the championship picture flipped. Verstappen is now only 24 points behind Norris, with 2 races left. He is tied with Piastri. A position that looked impossible earlier in the year when McLaren seemed unstoppable. But everything changed after Red Bull's upgrades in Monza. 4 wins in the last 7 races. Momentum shifting. Confidence returning. The aura of a champion rising again. Mekies ended with words that sounded less like praise and more like a threat to the rest of the grid. Now that he can fight for wins again, he's delivering masterclass after masterclass. Qatar and Abu Dhabi remain. 2 races. 1 title fight. And if Vegas proved anything, it's this. When Verstappen is in full control, even a message like "Attack Max" becomes nothing more than a punchline. Yet behind Verstappen's domination and the praise echoing from the Red Bull garage, a far more uncomfortable question emerges: what is truly happening inside McLaren? The radio call, "We're going to get Max," should have been a declaration of intent. Instead, it exposed a strategic miscalculation that revealed just how fragile McLaren becomes when the pressure comes directly from a driver like Verstappen. Critically speaking, McLaren misread the rhythm of the race. They pushed Norris to attack at a moment when Verstappen still had strategic freedom, healthier tires, and most dangerously, the motivation to prove McLaren had underestimated him. Helmut Marko highlighted that with a sting of sarcasm. "We knew the tire condition of the competitors, and the funniest thing was the message from McLaren. Attack Max, overtake him. This wasn't just a jab at Norris. It was a critique of McLaren's judgment. A decision that was too optimistic, bordering on naive. Because the moment Verstappen heard the challenge, he transformed the race into a one-way demonstration of superiority." Mekies followed with a remark that should worry McLaren more than anything else. Whenever Lando pushed, and we asked Max to go quicker, he increased his pace every time. That single sentence exposes the core issue. McLaren was completely unprepared for Verstappen's ability to respond instantly. They were too accustomed to dominating the early season, forgetting that Red Bull is a team engineered for late-season resurgence. And when Marco said Verstappen practically forced Norris into a mistake at turn 1, it wasn't just analysis. It was a statement about the psychological duel, one that is now decisively one-sided. Verstappen knows when to strike, and more importantly, when to plant doubt in his opponent's mind. If McLaren hopes to keep its championship lead, they must accept that raw pace is no longer enough. Verstappen's performance in Vegas showcased a blend McLaren has yet to master: instinct, control, and execution under peak pressure. Mackey's underscored that notion, intentionally or not. A win is a win. It's very easy to forget how hard it is to win. You have to get everything right. A sentence that sounds neutral, but in context, it feels like a veiled reminder that McLaren did not get everything right. They focused too much on momentum, not enough on precision. Too much on championship numbers, not enough on understanding of Verstappen, who was resurging at the exact moment it matters most. With Red Bull's upgrades since Monza reigniting their season, McLaren now faces a much more dangerous threat: a psychological collapse at the same time Verstappen is sharpening into his strongest form. The fact that Verstappen sits just 24 points behind Norris with 2 races remaining means the title fight is no longer about car performance, it's about who can withstand the pressure without cracking. Because in Vegas, Red Bull didn't just show speed. They showed that when McLaren tries to provoke Verstappen, he responds in the most brutal way possible. Fastest lap after fastest lap, as if saying McLaren's challenge wasn't a threat but entertainment. If McLaren cannot find a counterstrike, Qatar and Abu Dhabi won't be a duel of equals. They'll be the closing chapters of a season in which Max Verstappen stormed back from the shadows and turned a confident McLaren into a team suddenly doubting itself. Looking ahead, the championship is no longer a question of who has the faster car, it has become a psychological war, and the momentum has swung violently toward Red Bull. Qatar is next, a circuit that rewards tire preservation, long-run consistency, and confidence under pressure. On paper, Qatar should favor McLaren. Their strength throughout the season has been race pace and controlled degradation. But the Verstappen who arrived in Vegas was not the driver from earlier in 2025. He was sharper, hungrier, more calculating. If that version of Verstappen shows up again, the question isn't whether he can win, it's whether McLaren can survive the pressure. Norris carries a 24-point lead, but it is the most fragile cushion he has ever held. Vegas exposed cracks in McLaren's communication and decision-making, cracks Red Bull will aim directly at. Verstappen does not need pole position. He does not need a perfect race. All he needs is pressure, because pressure is where McLaren flinched. And Verstappen knows it. Red Bull's upgrades since Monza have reshaped the battlefield. Their car no longer needs a flawless lap to beat McLaren. Mackey's comment rings louder now. Whenever needed, he increased his pace. That alone signals that Red Bull enters Qatar with a weapon McLaren currently lacks: instant adaptability. If Qatar runs clean, without safety cars or chaos, Verstappen becomes the favorite. And for McLaren, that is a terrifying shift.